There's really no getting around it. July is hands down one of the slowest months of the year when it comes to new game releases. We are on the cusp of the fall and holiday season when all the big games come out, and well, one of the months has to be the slowest, and this is it. But fret not, I have dug deep and found at least a handful of interesting titles that you can look forward to this month. We got a third-person arcadey roguelike, a first-person psychological horror game that reminds me a lot of PT. There's an old-school Zelda-inspired sci-fi action RPG, a super cool looking cyberpunk roguelike, an adventure game where you play as a fox, a stealth game where you play as a cat. I hope you like playing as animals this month. And we also have an anime monster collection game and a handful of other titles that didn't quite make the list, but I still think are worth mentioning. So we're gonna jump into this month's games, but first, of course, let's get a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Jawa.gg, a marketplace community for gamers to buy and sell gear. So if you're looking to sell some of the stuff you have, they can connect you with buyers. If you're looking to purchase PC parts or even fully built rigs, Jawa facilitates that process and connects you with sellers. There are boutique PC builders on the platform offering deals in various tiers of PCs. Currently, you could get a 3060 build from Out West PCs for under $1,000. This is a pretty good mid-tier option, which would be great for a lot of the games on this list. Or there's even a 3080 Ti build from Death Tech. This is a great high-end water-cooled build with a 3080 Ti currently on sale for $2,500 from a 5-star seller. Aside from great prices on various products, Jawa's fees are lower than many other marketplaces, giving you a lot more bang for your buck. Okay, so kicking things off this month is Arcadegeddon. This is a third-person co-op multiplayer shooter that offers a mix of PvE and some PvP experiences, while also catering to a wide range of play. This is basically an arcadey roguelike where you'll run through levels collecting loot, getting upgrades, and seeing how far you can push. The game also happens to be set in an arcade, hence the name Arcadegeddon. The premise is this: the local owner of an arcade shop is trying to save his business from this like mega corporation. So he creates this super game that unfortunately then gets hacked into and injected with a virus by the mega corp. So you need to save the game by playing a roguelike, defeating enemies, collecting loot, and pushing further and further. It's kind of a weird premise, but it looks like an interesting game. The developer calls this an ever-evolving multiplayer shooter that allows you and up to 3 friends to explore tons of mini-games and multiple biomes, completing objectives, finding hidden items, and defeating numerous enemies and bosses. They also have these PvP challenges where you can battle your friends mid-run for bonus loot. That's kind of a cool twist on co-op roguelite adventure. Now, the game went into early access last year, and after several updates is finally ready for full release. I'll say just at a glance, I think this thing looks pretty decent. The user score on Epic is also fairly high for whatever that's worth. We'll have to see once it fully launches and the final reviews start coming in, but it looks like it could be one of those games that might be fun to mess around with for a little while. Although I should say all of the reviews that I've seen are from back in July 2021 when it first hit early access. I have not seen a lot of recent coverage, impressions, or reviews, which makes me wonder if everyone just kind of immediately dropped the game after it went into early access. Either way though, we will be finding out soon. Arcadegeddon launches on July 5th for $19.99. It's coming to PlayStation console as well as PC via the Epic Game Store. They do say they will explore other platforms in the future, which means an eventual likely Steam release and maybe coming to other console platforms. MADiSON is a first-person psychological horror game that aims to deliver an immersive and terrifying experience. You walk around using a camera attempting to connect the human world with the beyond, taking pictures, solving puzzles, exploring your surroundings, and of course trying to survive the jump scares, because yes, this game looks to have a lot of jump scares. Also, this game really appears to be pulling a ton of inspiration from PT, you know, that demo teaser that we had for a Silent Hill game that never got made. Hey, I think that's kind of a good thing, frankly. If PT spawned this subgenre of horror games, I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, this looks to be very clearly inspired. In MADiSON, you play as Luca, exploring a haunted home, trying to uncover the twisted history of your family with nothing but a camera to aid you. And that's really one of the primary devices in this game. The camera acts as like a detection device, letting you see hidden objects, pathways, pathways, monsters in the environment. You'll snap a photo, and then after a few seconds of it developing, it will reveal what there is to be found. Also, that brief snap gives you a glimpse of it as well. The camera even acts as a key in some sorts, unlocking entrances, moving objects, opening paths, and just in general working as a way to interact with the environment. Outside of the camera, there's a ton of regular environmental interaction, as your character can open drawers, search shelves, pick up items, and interact with objects that further progress the story. There are randomly activated events and changing puzzles that ensure a lot of replayability. There's also the safe system where you can store helpful items you find for later use. And again, the game is full of scares, lots of dark corners, moving objects, creepy creatures, and 3D sound to really provide an immersive horror experience. So MADiSON will be launching on July 8th. It is coming to PC via Steam. Currently, there is no price available. Zell is a 3D action-adventure game set in a sci-fi fantasy world. It is being developed by Tiny Roar, an indie studio that's looking to take the old-school action-adventure genre and bring it into the modern day. There also is clearly a lot of Zelda-like inspiration here. The developer themselves references Zelda in some of the preview early coverage. So in Zell, you play as Reed, shipwrecked on a strange world without any recollection of her former life. It is the classic amnesia story setup for your hero. And then you must use your sword and shield to fight back dangerous foes as you explore the overworld and dive into dungeons full of unforeseen threats and challenging puzzles while trying to remember everything that you forgot. So yes, they say the game is clearly developed by this old school gameplay, but while incorporating some new school features. It's got a classic top-down 3D action-adventure look. It is set in a vibrant world. Hack and slash combat with dodging, parrying, and gadgets. They've said this is going to be very skill-based, and even without many unlocks, you should be able to defeat the game if you are good enough. You can upgrade your weapons and shields. There are gadgets, and you can make all of this stronger, unlocking new abilities. You will also unlock unique skills as you play through, allowing you to traverse to previously inaccessible areas. This is often referred to as like a Metroidvania style. And the game is full of dungeons and puzzles, lots of places to explore. There's also going to be a strong emphasis on storytelling with a memorable cast of characters. I'll say this here, it is very, very indie looking. Clearly, they didn't have a massive budget. There seems to be a bit of a lack of polish here. And actually, in a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of the old school like Warcraft 3 RPG mods that people used to make. And I say that in the most positive of ways. Like, I think there's kind of a neat little charm to this. And again, I thought it was interesting enough to include in this month's list. Zell will be launching on July 12th on PC and Switch. Currently, there's no price available. However, there is a playable demo on Steam if you want to check it out before you buy it. Loopmancer is a 3D platforming roguelite action game in a cyberpunk universe. You play as a detective who comes back to life after an unexpected death, reliving that experience, pushing to progress further each time. Point out right at the top though, they call this a 3D game, but everything's played from that side-scrolling perspective. Is that not like 2.5D? Whatever the case, this is a roguelite with hack and slash action gameplay. I will say it looks pretty slick in action, like lots of zipping around and blasting through enemies with weapons or chopping them up with melee swords and stuff. Seems like a really fun, fast-paced bit of action. So as you play through the game, you'll unlock new weapons and abilities. These will carry over as you play through these endless reincarnations, making you stronger. There are over 100 weapons, skills, and tech items that you can unlock. It features 7 handcrafted large stages, including a lively dragon town, a bleak and gloomy village, these luxurious hotels, a maritime training base, and the biotech labs. And again, being a roguelite, you will progress through these, getting better and better, unlocking shortcuts, all of that stuff. You'll be able to fight over 30 enemies, each with unique behaviors and attack patterns, vicious gangsters, well-equipped mercs, crazy mutants, highly trained bionics. Areas as well will change at random after each loop to help add even more variety. And yeah, it is a roguelite in a cyberpunk world. It looks pretty neat. Loopmancer launches on July 13th, PC via Steam. No price at the moment, but this is another game with a demo as well. Endling Extinction is Forever is a 3D side-scrolling adventure game where you play as the last mother fox on Earth, fighting for survival for you and your cubs. You will experience a world ravaged by mankind through the eyes of a fox, discovering the destructive force of the human race. Ain't that the truth? As they corrupt, pollute, and exploit the most precious resources of the natural environment. Explore the world as you defend your tiny little furballs, feeding them, hunting for them, watching watching them grow up. They'll have their like unique personalities as you explore. Pretty neat game. They have like the stealth system as you'll be sneaking through the environment trying to hide. You'll spend the day resting in your shelter and then kind of planning your next movement as you go out at night. I'm actually not sure how much of a gameplay focused game this is as much as it is like a narrative driven adventure that can kind of be summed up as humans are destroying the planet, which, you know, yeah, that's kind of happening, right? It looks neat though, and it is moderately priced. Endling will be launching on July 19th on PlayStation console, Switch, Xbox, as well as PC via Steam, and it is priced at $29.99. And this is another game with a demo. Look at all these demos, huh? Pretty cool stuff. You don't have to buy, you can try like half of this list without spending any money. That's good. That's good stuff. Okay, the next game up is really, really good looking. Honestly, this is the title that I am most anticipating this month. I'm talking about Stray, the third-person cat adventure game. I know it's another game where you play as an animal, but holy crap, I love the look of this game. Set amidst the detailed, neon-lit alleys of a decaying cyber city and the murky environments of its underbelly, you will be playing from the point of view of a cat, navigating and interacting with the environment to solve puzzles and uncover mysteries. You'll be roaming through the surroundings, high and low, doing all sorts of cat things, scratching furniture, knocking objects over, getting into trouble, jumping around and crawling through places you probably shouldn't be. You'll have to defend against various threats like droids and other dangerous inhabitants of this world. Stealth is going to play a big role here. You'll be sneaking around to avoid some of these dangers, or sometimes you'll be tasked with doing things to annoy some of these creatures and inhabitants. It's all very, very cat-like. You also have this flying drone companion known as B12 who can help with unlocking difficult puzzles as well as communicating with the robots. In fact, when you unlock B12, you get access to this little backpack with a digital interface that B12 can store items in. Pretty cool. I just love the look of this game. I think it looks really clever. I like the mix of realism and stylized graphics, the overall tone, and even like the darker setting. This thing seems to have a lot of character. I am super pumped for Stray. It'll be launching on July 19th. It's coming to PlayStation consoles as well as PC via Steam for $29.99. That sounds like a steal. I'm going to assume it's a fairly short game for that price, but boy, it looks like it might be packing a punch. And the final big game on our list is Digimon Survive. In celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Digimon anime, Digimon Survive sees a brand new group of teenagers getting lost on a school camping trip, finding themselves transported to a strange new world of monsters and dangers. This is a tactical RPG monster collection game, basically. Some of its key features include the anime-style graphics, a story that runs a little darker and also evolves based on your choices and actions. It's got tactical RPG turn-based combat with over 100 Digimon, and the battles are fought in 2D in this classic RPG style. Digimon Survive will be coming to PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC on July 29th for, get this, $90 it looks like. 90? Okay. All right, got a couple of other notable games that I want to quickly mention before we wrap up here. Krut, the Mythic Wings is a fast-paced hack-and-slash side-scrolling platformer. This looks actually fairly well put together. There's also Clanfolk is going to be entering into Steam Early Access. It is a colony life sim set in a medieval Scottish Highlands. Then there's Escape Academy, which is basically an escape room simulator. You will solve puzzles, try to escape. And finally, Hellpie is a 3D platformer that's really kind of over-the-top looking in the good way, I think. It's pretty, yeah, Hellpie, there you go. And that will pretty much do it. Like I said, July, it's a slow month for new games. Really not a lot, if any. Are there any AAA games? I don't think technically. There's no like really big budget games on this list. That's not a big deal. It's a time for indies to shine. And as I mentioned, about half of these games have demos that you can play. So that's pretty cool. We're going to be coming up to some more jam-packed months, some more big budget releases, but I'm always happy to shout out and have some room, like some breathing space for indie games, because some of these could very likely turn out to be gems. And that's the hope, right? Fingers crossed. I'm putting my bets on Stray. That's going to be the game that I think I'll probably enjoy the most this month. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks as always for watching. Hope you enjoy the content. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.